Hello, this is Karia again, and I have another video for you today. Today I will be talking to you about sharpeners, and mainly because I got a whole bunch of new ones. These all came from, hold on, let me set aside. I got these three from pencils.com. They sent me a package, so I got these for review. So I did a video where I talked about this, and I wanted to talk about the other two as well as comparing the different sharpeners that I have in search of a new favorite. So currently what I'm using currently is my Alvin brass sharpener and this Derwent sharpener that I got basically from a fan. I got a gift card from a fan, and I used the gift card to buy this, and I did a review of this. There'll be a link up there to that review. And I really like both of these. Let me show you what I like about both of these. What I like about this one is that it has a replaceable blade. It's very reliable. If it starts to get dull or it gives me a problem, it's very easy to fix. I love that it's small and I can carry it with me. Let me show you. This is the point made by the, hold on. This is the point made by the Derwent Longpoint. Now, I like how long this point is. At the same time, I don't like it because the main thing is that the point gets a little bit too long. And it's a little bit slightly unreliable. Sometimes I feel like I'm afraid that it's going to, that the point is going to break. Additionally, the other thing that a few people have mentioned is that it does sometimes leave marks on your pencil that might be a little bit unsightly for some. I don't mind it, but there are those things. So those are the two main issues I have with that one. Now, the issue I have with the Bullet is I like the Bullet. I like that it's reliable, but as I said before, the point is not particularly sharp. Let me move some of this stuff out the way so it's a little bit easier to see, and then we're going to go over the other sharpeners and talk about my search for a slightly better sharpener. This was also done with the Derwent. I think this was done with a Derwent. But anyway, let me show you the Alvin brass, which I've done a number of videos on this one, and there'll be a link. Oh, this blade might need to be replaced, but it doesn't matter. It's still working. It's not yet a problem. So it's a point, but you know, you can see the difference between the Alvin brass point, which is a sharp point, versus something with a more specialized long point. You can see the huge difference there. So that's the problem that I've ran into, is that the sharpener I like the best doesn't give you the best point. So to that end, they sent me three sharpeners. They sent me this long point, which I had one like this. This is the Blackwing-Kum Longpoint. And it's an automatic two-step. So the way that this one works, I had one like it, but I was a little bit incorrect as to how to use it. But now that I sort of know better what I'm doing, I can show you guys how to actually use this. And this, when I talked about this, was literally like when I first started. It was one of my first videos. So what you do is you go to step one. Oh, this one might not fit. That's the other problem, is that sometimes this Albrechter doesn't always fit into every pencil. It doesn't fit in that one very well. This is a better fit. So what you do is you go into the first step, and the first step shaves off the wood. Now, I talked about this in a previous video, but I just want to do it again, because this is a really, really popular sharpener with people who use graphite pencils. But I haven't seen that many people who do coloring books really talk about this sharpener, and probably because it's a two-step process. Okay, so you do the first step until either you hit stop or it won't go any further, and then the second step gets a point. So you see how it's shaving off just mainly shaving off just the thing, and then you can see the point that you get from here. So you can see that point. Let me show you in comparison to the white, which was the Bullet, that it is a longer point. You can see that it's a longer point because of that two-step process. Not only is the tip longer, but also the whole point is just longer overall. But it's not like, that's probably why you don't see it so much with colored pencils, is it's not so much of a difference that it's worth that two-step process, at least for me, for coloring pencils. Now for graphite, that works much better for graphite, especially since they're smaller and the holes here are a little bit on the small side, so they don't always work with these larger core pencils. So for example, the luminance, although the luminance is fitting, so let's try the luminance out. Yeah, the luminance definitely runs into a problem. It doesn't want to go all the way in, and I don't want to push it because the luminance are expensive. So that's the issue with this. However, I do like it for graphite pencils. Now, anyway, so now we're still on the hunt for the perfect pencil that gives me the point that I like in an easy way. So, so let me do the battery one next. Now this is going to be loud, so just be warned about that. These are loud sharpeners, and I must say I was not particularly impressed by that. Let me show you the point where it's at right now. We're going to stick it in. Oh, it might be off. This is okay, so got to turn it on. So let me show you again. The way that it works is this moves the sharpener. So the way that this works is that this moves the sharpener and it goes around the pencil. It's also really loud, and it doesn't give you a particularly sharp point. I could keep going, but basically the point is not really going to get any sharper than this. So, so that's kind of the issue that I have with this one. However, if you want a battery powered sharpener, this is definitely one to look into, and I'll give you a link to it in the down in the description. Hi Bella. Both Bella and Stewie came out when they heard the noise, because you know they're nosy and they're cats. So this leaves me, okay, 7 minutes in. I can't believe I'm so long-winded. 7 minutes in, and we're finally to what I really wanted to talk about, which was this thing. Now what this is this is a one-step sharpener that gives you a longer concave point. This is called the M+R Mobius and Ruber Pollux Sharpener. So this is listed on Amazon for $32 and at pencils.com, and they were the ones who sent this to me for $25.95. So obviously I recommend that you go for pencils.com. Their shipping is fairly reasonable. And let's see, replacement blades are not yet available, but they are coming. And as you know me, you guys know that replacement blades are super important to me. Let's see, it has a longer blade than the other one, so let me show you the two of them. Let me move this out the way, and you can see, hold on, this is the white from when I did the white Polychromos. You can see here that the blade is in fact a longer blade. But it also has this grip here, so you can turn either the pencil or the sharpener. You see me, I prefer to turn the sharpener, and it's also concave, so it gives you a longer point in just one step, which is what I want, and which is what I feel like if you are doing adult coloring, you're gonna want. So let's see if this goes in there. So what I like about this here is that it's easy to do. I can use the same technique that I use with the bullet that I showed you guys in the video. You just gotta, you know, go slow. This is definitely one that's not, you know, if you like to just breeze through your sharpening, this isn't necessarily the sharpener for you. But you go slow, you do the turns, and look at that point. Look at that point. Now it will leave your hands a mess because the shavings go all over the place, but to me it's worth it to get that point in one step. Let me show you. Let me move this out the way and show you the point. Look at that point. So you see how long that is? And let me compare that to the regular Alvin. Look at how much longer that is. That's a huge difference. And let me do really quickly, just to be sure that we have the Derwent one. Let me do the Derwent one. All right. So this is a crank sharpener, obviously very big. Let me show you the comparison between. This was the regular short bullet that I was using in the past. This is the new Pollux. and this is the Derwent is the gray. And you can see how the Pollux and the Derwent compare. Look at that. Now the Derwent is a longer point, but we talked about what that, the risks that entails. But for being a one-step sharpener, I was really, really happy with that. All right, so I've mainly been talking about the pros of this sharpener, but there are some cons. Is the price. So out of all the sharpeners that I've showed, this is the most expensive. And I told you guys earlier the retail price. Compare that with the Bullet, which is $6 or $7 plus replacement blades. And also this is not that easy to find. So I'll give you the links below. But this isn't something that you can go to your local store and pick up for the most part, unless you have a pencil store near you. For the most part, you're not going to be able to find this at your local store. You're going to have to go online and get this. The Bullet is a little bit harder to find, but you can find this in some art stores. The other thing is that this it's really finicky, and it just does not take well to some of the luminance pencils, which is a shame because it would be great to be able to use this on a luminance pencil. The core of the luminance is just a tad too thick to really go in there. The other thing is that if you put too much pressure, so for example, with the Bullet, now if I put too much pressure on the Bullet, it's not really the end of the world. It'll still keep going, and it'll still sharpen the pencil. It'll still sharpen the pencil and it'll be fine. But if you put too much pressure on the Pollux, it can break your tip. So there, it can break your tip. So that's the other thing. If you're not careful, you can end up with broken tips. So those are some of the things to keep in mind with this, with this sharpener, especially for being an expensive sharpener. Not everybody's going to want to go, the slowness of this, and also the fact that you have to be fairly careful not to overdo it. So let's take another one and show you that you have to go, you have to go a little bit slow. And because of where the grip is, your hands are going to get dirty. So you saw when I did the brass, I was able to avoid my hands getting dirty. In this one, it's just not, you're not going to really be able to avoid that. Your hands will, more likely to get dirty than with the brass. So you see how nice and sharp that is? Let me get another one. Actually, I don't know if, see, this one does not, I think the Polychromos is probably as thick as it'll go. This is supposedly the same thickness as the Polychromos, but I found these to be a little bit thicker. So that's the other thing, is you have some large core pencils. They may not all fit. So you have to order it online, and not all your pencils will fit. Having said that, I still really like it. Try this other one, this other Albrecht. Nope, still not fitting. Let me try something else. I brought a whole bunch of pencils with me, and I think I might have sharpened all of them. Oh, I have this one. This is a graphite pencil, which is actually what these are intended for, and they will perfectly fit your graphite pencils. That's not a problem at all. They perfectly fit your graphite pencils, because your graphite pencils are usually a smaller core, except the Derwent ones, which also have a large core. Oh, Stewie, stop picking a fight with her. So you can see that, and this is really useful for the graphite pencils. Look at that. That gives you a nice sharp point there. So so overall, this is a really fun sharpener. I'm not sure if I would recommend this as your only sharpener, but if you're looking for something to give you a sharp point, and if you don't use a luminance, which I think most people really don't use a luminance, especially not for coloring, then this is definitely something to consider. Again, this also will have a hard time taking the luminance. Also, actually, well, once I shaved off with the other sharpener, it did go in there. But once you get more of the wood, I remember now, it didn't go in all the way. So that's going to be an issue, I think, for a lot of sharpeners, is that they won't necessarily take the luminance, and they may have a hard time with the Albrecht. The Bullet will take the Albrecht. And this one will take the Albrecht Dürer. So that might be where you would go if those are the ones that you have. If you use a lot of the luminance, then maybe a crank sharpener that lets you pick the thickness is probably a better bet for you. However, I am really happy with this. I have to save up because they're, like I said, they're kind of expensive. They're not like the brass bullet where you could just go and get another one. You know me, I like to have more than one of stuff. So I'm definitely gonna get another one, and then I'm super excited for when blades will be released. So I guess my conclusions here are: this is a great sharpener. It's definitely an interesting alternative to the two-step one, as well as to the Alvin brass, especially if you're looking for something to be in between. If you want to be able to take something that will give you a long point and you want to travel with it, or if you just want something that is small and handheld, which I like the fact that this is small and handheld. I like the fact that I can keep this with my pencils, which is actually where it was. It's with my pencils. If you guys saw my my birthday gift unboxing, there'll be a link up there. I just put this in there with the birthday box, and it worked really well with that. So so that's it. So thank you so much for pencils.com for sending me for a review. Thank you guys so much for staying with me. I know I'm super long-winded. I do apologize. One of these days, this video was meant to be 5 minutes long. One of these days, I'm going to meet my 5-minute goal. It's not going to be today, but it will happen at some point. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Stewie. Stewie. Hey, buddy. Baby Stewie. Yeah, baby Stewie. You look fat.